We've all seen things as a kid that we've wanted to revisit, but imagine if some of those things were lost for good. Today I'm going to be discussing the lost media of my childhood. Now, some of these things may or may not be lost, but I can't find them, and I've never heard anyone else ever talk about them. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. This first one I only recently couldn't find, as I had never really thought to look for it before. This one is a SpongeBob YouTube poop, I think, called Mario Patties. From what I remember, it wasn't really much of a YouTube poop, it was more of a dub. None of the characters sounded like themselves. It was as if someone had just dubbed over them and they weren't really doing any type of impression. The SpongeBob episode that was used as a base was Pretty Patties, but some things were edited over it. I remember there was that infamous realistic Mario head edited onto one of the patties, and Mr. Krabs held up Kirby Milkshake, while Squidward held up I think it was a Luigi French fry? That I'm not too sure on. This is the most that I remember from this YouTube poop, and it was around 2011-2012. And that was the only time I ever watched it. Another SpongeBob YouTube poop that I can't find is one that used the paper as its base. I remember a few things from it. One was that they edited some text onto the gum wrapper, but I don't exactly remember what it said. It was some joke, though. The music used when SpongeBob and Squidward were playing their instruments, shall we say, was changed. I don't exactly remember what the music sounded like, but I remember it was like a peppy, upbeat song. If I heard it, I would know it. At the end of the YouTube poop was when Squidward was playing with the paper while naked, but it was sped up, kinda like chopping around and glitching, and it had explosions and plane crashes in the background. And that is pretty much what the thumbnail was, or at least that's what I remember it as. The channel the video was on, I also remember a few things from. I believe the icon for the channel was just the stock profile picture for YouTube at that time. There was also an intro video that used the whole, Windows Movie Maker style, and it says something along the lines of, the whole point of a YouTube poop is taking something and making something fun out of it, or something like that. There's another SpongeBob YouTube poop that I've looked for years. This one used to come up constantly, so I'm so shocked it's actually lost. No, I distinctly remember the thumbnail, as I saw it almost every single day logging onto YouTube. It was a frame from the episode Krusty Krab training video, as that's the episode it used as its base. It was a frame of Mr. Krabs holding up a straw with his mouth open. And I remember a few things from the video itself. I remember distinctly, almost as a fact, that the opening was the Krusty Krab training video title screen, but with the hey 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 edited above it. Then it showed, the graph, but instead of the Krusty Krab it had the giraffe from earlier edited onto it, just like in this mock-up. That's all the really distinct stuff I remember from it. It was especially the beginning I remember. It was a pretty common one to find at the time, so I really am pretty shocked that it was lost. Now we get into the weirder stuff. So, a lost fad from the late 2000s and early 2010s is MS Paint Adventures. It's where PNGs of characters will go on adventures in MS Paint. But there's one in particular that I can't find. It was one where SpongeBob and Dora were just on a white background. The Dora turns red and then a screamer of a gory Dora is shown on the screen. I have never been able to find it again, I still wonder what it even was. But that's not the only screamer that's lost. There's also one video that I only ever saw once. It was around 2010-2011. The thumbnail was this picture here. And the video showed that image of SpongeBob for roughly a second and then the horror started. They showed the scene from Men in Black where the guy's head got shot and then regrew. There was a loud scream put over it, and then there was, some guy's intestines? Yeah. I always wondered what that video even was. Why did it even exist? But I was never able to find it again. So, that's all I have to talk about for now. But trust me, this won't be the last time I discuss lost things from my childhood. But I'll be discussing that at a later date. So, I'll see you then.